Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me and everyone at Tibetan Buddhist Society of Canberra Sunday session. This morning, we are doing a special practice for the sake of the deceased instead of the regular meditation and talk. So I'll start with a short introduction to the day, and then we'll do the Sutra practice. Today is the full moon of the 7th month, and it marks in the International Buddhist calendar Ulamana festival. Ulamana festival is taught in the Ulamana Sutra in relation to Buddha doing special prayer for those who are born in the hungry ghost, and which was prompted by Moggallana Putra, who's Buddha's one of the foremost disciples, who although has miraculous power but did not know where his parents were reborn. And then through the blessings of the Buddha, he was able to discover that his father was born in the Deva realm, which he was very delighted. But his mother, unfortunately, was born as a hungry ghost. And he could see every single suffering of hungry ghosts, not just his mother, in a dry desert where his mother was reborn with a huge stomach and thin throat, and she couldn't get any food, but even those that are given could not pass through her throat. So by witnessing the excruciating suffering of his mother, he requested Buddha that if everyone whose parents or loved one dies and are born in hungry ghosts, how can we help? Buddha said nobody can help unless these prayers are done for the sake of hungry ghosts. So that's why Buddha taught the Ulamana Sutra. And since then, northeast Buddhist countries like China, Japan, Korea, they have honored the whole 7th month as a ghost month. And they do anyone who has loved one who passed away, they know that possibility of their relatives still in hungry ghost. Even if they're reborn, they say they become ghosts in the 7th month, and they roam and come around their family and seek for offerings made in their name to the Triple Gem, to appease, to make them happy. So in those countries, that also marks the conclusion of the rainy season retreat. Today marks the conclusion of rainy season retreat. Most Buddhist temples where they have sanghas doing their rains retreat, today is the last day they are going off a feast to the monks. I wasn't able to go because we have to do this. They are offering a feast in Lynham, the Shakyamuni Buddhist temple. So therefore, and also someone did request us to do this Sutra practice on behalf of their deceased relatives. And so I said, that's a good timing because today marks the actual Ulamana day in Buddhist calendar. And so we're going to do this sort of offering. And so whether you have got the email with short notice attending this one or not, today this replaces the regular Sunday morning meditation followed by the talk. So today we're going to do this practice called Sur. Sur is a burnt offering, which is praying for the dead in the hungry ghost realm. So we have this practice, and mainly the offering is made to hungry ghosts who are not visible, So they're very invisible, So if you have few people around you and not many people attending, you can see because all the ghosts are not visible. All ghosts are not visible anyway. So, but because they're not visible, but still out there and suffering, so it's much more significant to know that out of sight, out of mind is not the case. But those who are deceased may not be visible, but they still are there in the world of the ghost, and they are roaming in search of food and prayers made to appease them. So that's why we are going to. Do the prayers for the deceased, and I think some of you may have sent names of the deceased to be included. If already those you haven't, please, if you have, you can put in the chat box, because we'll have 3 parts to today's ceremony. Short talk now, followed by the recitation of the Sutra of 3 Heaps here, and then the actual sur. We will go downstairs, because you can't do burning inside this building, so we will go downstairs in the courtyard and do the sur offering there. Of course, those of you who are on Zoom, you remain seated where you are and participate. The sur consists of 2 parts. First is the Sutra of 3 Heaps. That heaps of homage is made to in the name of 35 Buddhas of confession. Some of you may be familiar with the Sutra of 3 Heaps. Sutra of 3 Heaps is a very sutric teaching drawn from much larger Mahayana Sutra to do the confession of your negative karma in general or specific transgressions of Pratimoksha, Bodhisattva, and Vajrayana Samayas. Most people who have taken Buddhist precepts, either as a layperson or a nun or a monk, they definitely would incur many infractions. You wouldn't believe. And these days, out of the 253 vows, only good 10 or 12 of them are observed. The rest are totally ignored in some traditions. Some traditions are a little better than the others. And most traditions, they only observe a few basics, but the rest is never observed. So non-observance is considered to be a transgression. So doing the Sutra of 3 Heaps is an excellent opportunity to repair. So that's just Pratimoksha. Pratimoksha is mainly physical vows. And then Bodhisattva vows is mainly intentional vows. So majority of people who have taken Bodhisattva vows too would experience many transgressions, losing temper and being crook and angry at someone over small things more than 6 hours constitute a Bodhisattva's infraction. So you wouldn't believe how crucial it is to do the Sutra of 3 Heaps with or without offering made to the deceased. And then, of course, more importantly, Vajrayana Samayas. Any person who has received Vajrayana empowerment, they have to observe 14 root and 8 branch Samayas. And most people can't keep any of the Samayas very pure. For instance, one has to see everyone as deities. How often do you see that? Even during the formal sadhana, you try to visualize, you barely can keep your attention clear. So we're meant to hear all sound as a mantra, but how often do you do that? Even our own recitation mantra is filled with the doubts and distraction and dullness. How often do you hear all sound as mantra? We do only occasionally. So we are breaking samaya there, fundamental samaya of seeing deities. Everyone is deities, we don't do. Hearing all sound as a mantra, we don't do. We react to this one criticism, and we get very, very puffed up with praises. We totally transgress all sound as not mantras. All sound as a praise and criticism. Often we don't cope very well in keeping Vajrayana Samaya, not to mention other some specific samayas. Then one should see all our thought as emptiness. We become so embroiled in our thoughts, they're being correct, and judge him or judge her, and we do not see all our thoughts as emptiness. So you can see just those three basic Vajrayana Samayas very hard to keep. So that's why a Sutra of 3 heaps is done largely to do firstly heap of homage, paying homage to 35 Buddha's name, and the second is heap of confession. Confession is confession of transgressions of natural and conventional precepts. Natural is what society, according to the social norms, what is considered to be wrong. So that's a natural transgression. And conventional are civil, spiritual vows. So whether civil vows, where the law of the land are broken by oneself, ignored by oneself, as well as specifically taken vows like Pratimoksha or Bodhisattva or Vajrayana vow. Those are conventional vows because we have to go through a convention to say, I will, and anyone who has transgressed them is to be purified by doing Sutra of 3 heaps. The second is heap of confession. So when we read through that, you can see why it is so prominent. Sutra of second heap of confession. Third is heap of dedication. Third is that no matter how transgressor we have been in our practice or whatever, we still have, even that transgressions were made with the hope that we are trying to do good, So we do have many, many virtues, many good intentions. We do really mean well, So we should, we have helped people, whatever we can, whether even giving a mouthful of food, it says in the text, or whatever good virtue of generosity, tolerance, helping other people, attending teachings and listening and doing meditation and doing a lot of helping to each other, repaying the kindness of people we are indebted to, and so on. We are actually also creating a lot of merits along the way, however frail and blunders we sometimes make due to ignorance, carelessness, disrespectfulness, excessive defilements. These are the 4 causes of the transgressions: due to ignorance, carelessness, disrespectfulness, and excessive affliction. Some people are just totally hijacked by their judgment, their jealousy, their doubt, and then all of a sudden they slip. They usually don't want to do any of that, but they just gave in to these excessive afflictions. So all of this, but in spite of this ignorance, carelessness, disrespectfulness, and excessive affliction, if you look at the opposite of these 4, ignorance. So in order to allay ignorance, we should study Dharma, we meditate, we read. We would have developed some merit in wisdom. So we are trying to develop something like listening to teaching here on Sur and dedicating for hungry ghosts is trying so that we allay ignorance about the merit it has to do prayers for the deceased. Some people completely would not do anything for the deceased. They don't believe there's anything that helps the deceased. It's too late to help the dead, and there's nothing, and they all become dead. And so a lot of people are totally are non-believers. But we being believers, we are not choosing to remain ignorant, but we really choose to believe, yes, there is some benefit and merit that we can do. So therefore, we have merits such as not believing ignorance, but in spirituality, Dharma, taking refuge in the triple gem, believing the teaching. So it remedies ignorance. And also we are maybe careless when we are not mindful, but a lot of the time we are trying to be very careful. Even carelessness sometimes occurs because we're trying to be careful. Because those who don't believe wouldn't know how to distinguish between carefulness and carelessness. So people say, oh, I haven't been very careful with that. It means they lost kind of a concentration or something. But most of the time people are trying to be very careful. And also we are not being, disrespectful. Sometimes we are deliberately maybe disrespectful towards somebody because we say the wrong things, we give the wrong signal. But a lot of the time we are very respectful. We are considerate to each other, and we really take shoes off in the temple and sit down with great respect. And we will not do certain things in front of some people or some images, because we respect the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha and the temple and our spiritual teachers, our senior Dharma practitioners. We are thoughtful. We do try to show much respect as possible. So when we are in a good space, we are trying to be respectful as much as possible. Even in the street, we know there are certain courtesy the society expects to show to each other. And we are trying our best to be respectful. And there's lots of small merit that are earned every time we try. So we should not just be so guilty and bad about the wrongs we may have committed unconsciously, but also we should piece together all the small merits we have created, we are trying to create, and assemble them together and dedicate for the deceased. So that's the Sutra of 3 heaps. Third heap is heap of dedication. Now, not just dedicating our virtues, but dedicating in the name of the deceased. There are lots of things we still love and rejoice the deceased and their contribution to us and to others and so on. So we should rejoice. And by doing this, we do the Sutra afterwards. It appeases the spirits of the deceased. So that's really the big part of the Sutra. Is first we do the Sutra of 3 heaps, and then we do the actual Sutra. Actual Sutra requires, some of you may not know this, Sutra is a mixture of white stuff and 3 whites and 3 sweets, they call it. 3 whites are mainly what we call the food should not be any non-vegetarian, but all should be vegetarian. And molasses and sugar and honey, and as well as melted butter, are mixed together with white flour. And so you mix them thoroughly like a dry cake mix, and you need a very good fire, charcoal fire. Like our fire has been burning at least a year, at least an hour ago. Sometimes a year, hour looks like a year. Our fire is already burning, so when we go down, it's be ready. And you need to have those ready. And Tibetan Buddhists do this for 49 days, every day for the deceased. They don't seem to particularly think about the 7th month so much, because Tibetan Buddhists are doing all the time, because there's somebody dying every week, every month. And the people who are doing this, they have to do this regularly. I remember when I was introduced to this text, look at this text, if you can see text, which I copied in Sutra of 3 heaps, as well as the Sutra of 3 heaps, as well as the you, even though say my sister died of a particular form of Avalokiteshvara called Kasarpani, and then Buddha Vairochana is the guest, and then we visualize all the guests from the enlightened ones, from Buddha, the Yidams, the deities, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, all inside represent Buddha Vairochana, as well as the hungry ghost and the deceased who are also represented by whole Buddha Vairochana. So while reciting Om Mani Padme Hum, and then I invoke each of these various classes of guests, we can call, and then the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and the Bodhisattva. And Tibetan Buddhist tradition don't discriminate between the lineages very much. They use texts. This was a Nyingma text, but there are other texts in other traditions, but their purpose is the same. You Kasarpani. So that's the sequence. And what you offer is the goddess Rupavaja, telling the deceased that all of this beautiful food and enjoyment from the material world, that the hungry ghost is thirsty or craving. We offer this in form of goddess Rupavaja, a beautiful, excellent damsel, but merely by seeing her or just being close to her, all hunger and thirst will be allayed. So she's going to guide all the spirits of the deceased from the hungry ghost realm, and the smoke as not as a smoke, but goddess Rupavaja, because goddess Rupavaja is celestial, as is the smoke. Smoke you can see, but it's not tangible, just disappears. So likewise, all the sense objects such as form, sound, smell, taste, touch. Daughter is a visual object. So mother who died is attached to her daughter, who surpasses the daughter that the deceased is attached to, and so on. Likewise, if they're attached to sound or music or whatever they will offer, that also goddess, the smell of the smoke is offering of the smell, and then taste, and then touch. So some are attached to touch, to the houses, to the clothes, to the appearance, not only temporarily relieve their hunger, but to liberate from their hungry ghost realm. So that's the idea, his prayers. And so at the end we read a short, at the end, reflection on impermanence. So we will do that. So that's the structure of the sur, and then we do the dedication on the sur. And so, as I mentioned, today is the full moon of the 7th month, which is wrap up the rainy season. We do sur throughout the whole. Some practitioners do sur every day. Others do 49 days because somebody asked him, and so on. So, and other communities can do once a week or whatever throughout the whole year, not just once in the 7th month. So if only the ghost exists, incredible. They would the population of hungry ghosts would outnumber human. The sutra of this prayer to help the deceased. If you do a search of Ulamana Sutra or Ulamana Day. Others who could not tell where his mother's born. Liberate her, and then Buddha did that Ulamana Sutra for that purpose. So therefore, and how it came about, how do the praying for the deceased came about is because most, East Asia, like China and Japan and Korea, a lot of monastics travel around tour around the country in the 7th month because they want everyone to pray by the Buddha. Dubious sources or came from the sky or somewhere, or found in the lake or whatever. No, the Sutra's mother who is reborn in the hungry ghost realm. So I think that will do. Thank you. See, there's a lot of names, because hungry ghosts are invisible, So, okay, so on behalf of the deceased, Lauren Coxford, James Elizabeth Richardson, and Zero, prostration of pressure of fire, prostration of pressure, prostration of bestow bravery, prostration of pure one, prostration of bestow purity, prostration of water deity, prostration to the prostration king of victory, banner of pinnacle power, viewer, prostration of glorious one who established total brilliance, prostration of precious lotus subduer, prostanga and the wealth of Sangha in the 10 direction, and have urged others to rob, rejoice, engage, 10 non-virtuous deeds, have urged others to follow, and team beings, and they are unbiased, know and see. In their presence are unbiased, know and see. In their presence I confess all. I neither hide nor conceal any, henceforth promise to refrain from them. All of you blessed Buddhas, please pay attention to me while wandering throughout the cycle of samsara. Whatever source of virtue I have gathered, either in this life or in all my lives, without beginning or end, by practicing generosity, by giving woman's pure conduct, whatever source of virtue there is, by bringing sentient beings to complete spiritual maturation, whatever source of virtue there is, my awakening excellent bodhicitta, whatever source of virtue there is, and surpass the transcendent awareness, all such supreme, then the supreme, are thereby totally dedicated to the supreme and perfect and blessed Buddhas who are now living now, are dedicated for the second time. On Zodney, Lorna, Susie, Quattro, Elizabeth Richardson, and prostration, pressure of fire, prostration, pressure of fire, prostration, pressure, mean noon, lie, prostration, the meaning for one, prostration, best of lie, prostration, the meaning for one, prostration, best of purity, prostration, water deity, prostration, divine master, water deity, Lord, subduer, prostration, totally victorious, one battle, prostration, the Tathagata, they are perfectly and fully in love, that abide in the 5 heinous deeds I've committed, urge others to commit, and those I rejoice in, have followed the path of committing to engage in 10 non-virtuous deeds, cause the birth of myself and other sentient beings in hell, in the animal realm, in hungry ghost realm, in borderlands and barbarous countries, obscuration, which there I've gathered either in this life, all in my life, without beginning or end. There I've gathered either in this life, all in my life, without beginning or end, by practicing just source of which it is my performance, pure conduct, whatever source of it, what else, with whose praiseworthy Anukumar, Margaret Semple, I and all sentient beings always take refuge in the I and all sentient beings always take refuge in the Guru, Shakyamuni Buddha, prostration of take refuge in the Guru, Shakyamuni Buddha, prostration of Vajra as in perfect distraction, Guru, Shakyamuni Buddha, prostration of Vajra as in perfect distraction, prostration of the, all of those beginning or end, throughout cycle samsara, sinful deeds I urge others to do, those rejoice, stealing the wealth of charity, stealing the wealth of Sangha, and wealth curation which displeased coming of the Buddhas, all of those I confess before the sinful Buddhas, blessed Buddhas who with eyes of transcendent awareness, worthy to witness, verify, unbiased, know and see, in their presence I confess all, neither hide nor conceal any, henceforth promise to refrain from them. All of you blessed us, beginning by practicing generosity, by giving at least a mouthful of food, one bone and animal realm, whatever source of virtue there is, my preserving moral conduct, whatever source of virtue there is, my performance, and whatever source of virtue there is, my surpassed present when all such virtues, I collect them all, assemble and bind them in a single whole, and dedicate the supreme and highest to what higher than the highest, what is more supreme than the supreme, I thereby totally, just the blessed Buddhas who are living now, dedicating completely, so do I also dedicate completely. I confess each and every one of my sins. I rejoice in all the virtues, beseech, supplicate all Buddhas. May I attain excellence of prayers who are yet to come, whose praiseworthy attributes like a limitless ocean. Those bodhisattvas who are endowed with the strength of compassion, those bodhisattvas accumulate whether through prostration, offering, confession, through rejoicing, beseeching, and supplication, are dedicated towards enlightenment. So, I'm sure online
Very many.
Is any people in the... How many of them got text? Put it, is it?
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Okay, everyone, so now we are here to do the sur, starting with refuge, yeah? You follow the merit of dedicating this sur offering. May I attend Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, I take refuge in enlightenment reach. By the merit of dedicating this sur offering, may I attend Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Be free from suffering and a cause. Be free from suffering and a cause. Sorry. May all sentient beings not be separate from. Sorry. May all sentient beings not be separate from. Emptiness. Lotus seed are deceased in evil space recipients of gifts and all the three realms that guess who